Hello and welcome to Weapon on Wednesday. Weapon of Wednesday, should I say. Because technically it's all about weapons on this day. And what better time to choose this shotgun, the MTS 255. And why is this such a special shotgun to me? Well, I like the style of it, but that's probably not why you choose to use this weapon. It's a pretty good weapon because it can one-shot enemies from a reasonable amount, and at the same time you got several shots for it. I mean, I guess that is one of the downsides, that you only have 5 shots. And I'd say some people might prefer the Bulldog, which is quite understandable because it has a higher fire rate and you can have more shots before you have to reload. But I prefer to use the MTS because it has a little bit more range and it also has more damage, which makes it very useful if you use it at the right distance. The trick is knowing from what distance, because if you're too far away, you might get fucked up because of, well, you don't one-shot kill them, because that is technically your biggest strength. You one-shot kill enemies. And I'd say that's the main reason why you use it. And as the description also says, this is a run-and-gun shotgun. So it is required for you to move around with it, which I usually try to do, but I'm not that comfortable of running around the entire map. I usually pick an area, like in the map Tremor here in this building. It is quite usable and it's very deadly up to a reasonable range, instead of some shotguns that are technically only deadly at far range. I mean close range, of course not far range, because that would make it a little bit too overpowered, to say the least. So what do you want to do with this shotgun? My advice is keep moving. The more you move, the harder you are to be taken care of like that. Okay, that one was a little bit too far away. Still got the other one. Okay, so I hit him, but apparently, see, this is something that is really bad about card games. When you both kill, oh, that's a spawn camper. If you both hit each other at the same time, and both technically would be a kill, then still one of the two gets the kill. Even though I fully hit the other guy, I didn't get a kill for hitting him. Even with a shotgun, somehow your shot gets annulled or something. Oh sure, he's probably badly wounded, but it should have been fatal. That's all there is to this. I mean, if I was looking for something else, like oh yeah, I want a good SMG or something, yeah, then I'd believe it if you just barely hit him, that someone would survive that. But when you look at a shotgun at close range, it's just always death. You know, it's nothing fancy, it's nothing special. You just die. One shot, dead. And something that just got me, well, something that really bothers me about card games, that doesn't always seem to work that well. Okay, so what more can I say about the shotgun? I like to use muzzle brake and grip on it. And then you might think, not slug rounds? No, not slug rounds. Because slug rounds have the problem of being a little bit too... they narrow down the lethal part of it. As in, you have to perfectly hit someone, and then it's a one-shot kill. Instead of this, if I just use it without slug rounds, it takes a lot Okay, that was just bad shooting on my part. Oh, what a failures on their side. Oh my god. I thought I was being an idiot, but apparently I was lucky that there were bigger idiots on the other team. Holy crap. As you can see, this shotgun can deliver, even in the hands of someone who's not as good of a player as me. As you can see, it's really just one shot normally, and usually you'll get it. If your aim is reasonable, you can just get the hit. Everything in the area where I'm aiming here, it's technically a one-shot kill, which is ridiculously big like this, but let's not forget that you need to get a little bit close for that. But as you could see, I can kill from a reasonable distance for a shotgun, might I add. So this is something I don't always notice in the Bulldog. The Bulldog is a little bit, well, less range, but higher fire rate, and you get more slugs in one, or shells in one clip, if one could call it like that. I find that good, but on the other hand, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's not really my my thing, because I prefer to have less shells and do more damage and have more range than that I have more shells without having to reload, and that I have less damage and less range. Because when it comes to shotguns, you want to have as much range as you can. So let's go to what do I use? Well, as I said, I use a muzzle brake to increase damage and range. Now, of course, you want to have increased range, because increased range is something on a shotgun is very useful, especially if it's a very powerful shotgun like this one. It's not the strongest shotgun, but I like the style of this one more with the cylinder in it. As it says, double action 5-round revolving cylinder shotgun that lets you run and gun in style. Now, personally, I like this one the most. This one looks awesome, and it's also pretty good. So, with a muzzle brake, you technically only complement the range and the damage a bit more, so it becomes even a bit more useful. Now, foregrip is something you think like, oh, why the hell would you put a foregrip on a shotgun? It gives you a little bit less recoil, which makes multiple shootings, you know, if you quickly shoot at multiple opponents, it gives you a better chance to hit someone if you shoot quickly in a succession rate, you know. If you go like crazy, like shoot with your shotgun and just annihilate a whole group, then it's easier if you have less recoil, that your visor doesn't go all over the place. Of course, some focus also helps with that, but since I prefer not to use slug rounds, I first had slug rounds on, but a slug round really does, it gives you more damage, focus damage, might I say, at the one spot, that little round in the middle of your aiming part. That is where the real damage is focused. But a lot of times I got that round exactly on an enemy. I shot him, and it was even at close range, and sometimes they wouldn't die. Apparently I didn't hit him good enough, or the part where I hit him wasn't deadly enough. So in other words, it just wasn't good enough. So I've seen that I didn't get kills with my shotgun several times because of slug rounds, that somehow it just doesn't work well for me. That's why I prefer to use the full grip on it, because a little bit more stability is always a good thing. I don't really need it, but since I can put 2 attachments on it, it's better than putting nothing on it, I guess. And a visor, well, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use a visor on a shotgun, because usually you just want to hip fire with your shotgun, because it goes faster and it usually does the trick as when you would aim through your sight. And as you can see, in a lot of these encounters, I had to react very quickly, and you know, then you can't fuck around. You know, you need to make the kill. And as you can see, I did it most times. I only died twice. And if you've seen some of my videos, then you know that's not a lot. Oh. I got an uninvited guest on my TV there. Okay, so back to the secondary. So the secondary, I don't use pistols here. It's ridiculous with a shotgun. You don't need pistol. Same with lethal and tactical. You could use a tactical that you could say, well, I use a canister bomb, a hand grenade, Semtex, C4, whatever you think to blow out a camper somewhere, or if someone is camping somewhere up high and you can't reach them that easily with your shotgun, then you can always try to use explosives. But technically, I try to keep as much on the perks, because here at the perks you can see I use ready up. So after sprinting, because I also have marathon on this, I want to have my shotgun ready as fast as possible, because I hip fire a lot with my shotgun. It really comes in handy if your weapon is ready faster after sprinting. And why do I use marathon on it? In other words, unlimited sprint. Because with a shotgun you often have to run a lot. Of course you can camp in a corner, but I would never recommend you to do that, because camping is something I despise. So really, as you can see what I was doing, some would say, oh, that is camping. No, camping would mean I sit in a corner or I just sit somewhere still, aim through my sight and wait for someone to come and I shoot. As you can see, I was moving around in the building. Technically, I call that patrolling, which means you patrol an area to guard that. Of course, I could run all over the map, but as you could see, when I was spawned once, immediately some spawn camper up there fucking shot me down. And that's exactly why I don't use it, especially on a map like Tremor, where there are a lot of people that like to camp in spots like that near spawn points. So it's usually safer to pick just an area you want to guard and stick to that area. Other maps, by the way, you might also want to consider using a shotgun on is Flooded and Strike Zone. These maps have good areas where you can walk around and you have a lot of close quarters combat where you could easily use shotguns or SMGs or even pistols if you want. Okay, so fast reload. Well, for a shotgun, I think fast reload is always a good thing. You want to reload your weapon as fast as possible, because you never know when the next enemy will come, and there's always a next enemy that will come. Sometimes it takes some time, other time it comes directly after you got shot, so you always want to be quick with that. Steady aim, well, this goes without saying. This makes the target area that you can see where you're aiming a little bit smaller, which makes you a little bit more accurate with hip fire, which is exactly what I'm using most. Now, some people might prefer like quick draw, but that means aiming through the scope. Personally, I think on a shotgun that's ridiculous, because that isn't really what you need. There's a fly again on my TV there. So there is another one you might want to get is Scavenger. Now, depending how good you do, you want to have Scavenger to resupply your shotgun shells, because you're gonna run out sooner or later, and depending how accurate you shoot or how crazy you shoot, you don't want to mess that up. Now, it's a shame if you'd have to die because you didn't think about, oh yeah, I need Scavenger to resupply my ammo. Yeah, you really do want that. And why do I use focus? Well, often I find myself shooting someone, but if that person just shot me, then my aim goes all over the place without focus. And even with hip fire, you really want to keep your aim on the enemy, because if you just shot, or you were just about to shoot someone, and someone just shot you, and your aim just goes a little bit to the left, to the right, or wherever it goes, so your shotgun blast doesn't fully hit him and thus not fully kill him, could mean you die. So you really want to use focus on that. If you have no problem doing that without focus, then feel free to do something like shit rep, so you can spot mines or something. I can definitely advise that. I guess some people might also like to use stealth perks on it, but I would not recommend it, because you're loud with a shotgun, and using a silencer on a shotgun is just silly. I mean, I can't imagine anyone who would do that unless you're, well, a special case, but let's just say most people wouldn't do it. And, well, when it comes to to your kill streak. Yeah, I guess I prefer to use an assault one. And as you could see, when I'm holding down a spot, I like to use this one, the IMS. You know, so I can guard one area, so I can focus more on the other area. Because it's always useful to have an IMS like that. Some like a guard dog more, but well, I'm not always that fond of a guard dog because sometimes, in my eyes, they fail. Like they don't bark in time, or they don't attack an enemy immediately when they see them. And then I'm like, yeah, I'll just watch my own ass, and you know, I prefer to use the IMS because you can't have an IMS and a guard dog at the same time. So technically, it makes sense that you then pick something you're more comfortable with this style of play. And this one is the same thing. Sentry gun you can also use to guard an area that you say like, well, I'm going to put the sentry there so I don't have to watch that side for a while. Depending on what map you play or what your playstyle is, it can always come in handy. Of course, you can also use a vulture to follow around or anything, or a helicopter to give you some extra support. It really doesn't matter which one you pick, but I prefer to use something that that kind of acts like defense, that watches my back without really thinking about it. Like an IMS you can plan down, you don't need to look around there like, oh yeah, if it's gonna work, yeah, it's gonna work. Like I said, you could use the guard dog and the vulture if you prefer to have something to guard you when you're running around. I can totally understand it. But once again, it's totally up to you. It doesn't really matter what you pick. So there you have it. A little bit long talk about the MTS 255, but it's really a good shotgun, and I don't think a lot of people appreciate it as much as they could, because it's a really good shotgun. And I know the Bulldog gets a lot of attention, but let's not forget about this one. It's a good shotgun, and it's really nice to try this for a change. So I hope you found this useful, and I thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.